Perspective.
Your host, Fonte Swank, and you are now tuned in to Perspective Junkies. Welcome back. We went on a little bit of a hiatus, but we came back to bring y'all those perspectives on these real life topics. And we kicked it off with a guest and a little addition to the cast for a moment. You know what I'm saying? We had the sub in Joe Swank, and we brought on our guest, a fellow new Armani, and we sat down and had a great discussion. Of course, we had to touch on the capital situation, but we also had to defend the men on this episode and talk about toxic masculinity and this notion that all men are trash and how that really affects the relationship between men and women. And so it was a great discussion. Please check it out. Please show some love on the networks, and most importantly, enjoy the show.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are tuned in to another episode of Perspective Junkies podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, C. Swank, aka Captain Controversy, aka Codiocrities, aka the man of the plan. We are joined by one of our guests, a brother in my beloved fraternity, Armani. Introduce yourself.
Armani, one Money Suave. Yeah, man. Thank y'all for having me.
That's a bet. And we got a whole new cast, out with the N. Oh, what was it? Out with the old, in with the new. We got that boy Joe Swank filling in for old Kenzie.
Yep, filling in for KV Knows Most, Joe Swank, the man who don't know nothing but know everything. That's my name.
Alright, and
I'm glad y'all had me on. I'm glad y'all had me.
It's a little tryout for Joe, man. We trying to see what Joe want to do with this podcast life.
Yeah, so. Man, I'm real interested. I've been, listening in. These my brothers, my Swank brothers, so I'm down with the cause.
Hey, that's what's up. And then, it's me, the realist, Vontae Swank, the man of mental health. And we locked in for another good time. It's 2021, and, we starting fresh.
All right.
Got new things coming for the podcast.
Man of mental health.
We got people in there. We got people posting stories already. But look, we're gonna hop right into it. Recently, we would be crazy if we did not address the issues that's currently going in the political sphere of our country right now. The Capitol was invaded, literally just ran amok, ridiculous, absolutely obscene thugs. And I just want to get you guys your opinion on, saying not only the reaction from, the security that was there, and the reaction from our community, the black community, and how you feel when you saw that, occur. So you can start it off.
I mean, first thing I'm gonna say is this: the fact that you got a group of people that got the audacity to even do that, it tells us, like, like, we know we invincible. We know they're not gonna touch us this and third. So that part alone was crazy to me. And then, it was a lot of hype over, like, the woman that died. She was in the Air Force or Navy, one of the two, whatever, There's a lot of hype over that. And don't get me wrong, despite everything going on in America, I still don't wish death on nobody. But as a black man, we done had so many people die, for stuff that they didn't deserve, just that third. So at the end of the day, now I'm looking at it like, okay, well, they told you don't come in here. You felt invincible and thought that you could climb through this window, do what you want to do. Right. It didn't go your way. So although I have a little empathy for you, it's like, because we dealing with this every day, this and third now, That was just one example showing them, like, okay, well, maybe you aren't invincible.
Okay, and just to play devil's advocate, the reaction may be, okay, well, given the events that happened over the summer, there were a lot of situations where violence occurred or vandalism occurred, and there was people who didn't end up dead. So right. they would say, in the past, we understand that, but right now, there actually was a similar outcome to the stuff that happened in the summer. What would be your response to that? I guess the same to you guys.
alright, so when the Black Lives Matter, because the Black Lives Matter didn't start this year, but it popped back off this year type stuff. So when that came back, you know, it was a lot of situations where it was vandalism, looting and stuff like that. Nobody get shot. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But then you also got Breonna Taylor, who was laying in her bed and, you know what I'm saying, got shot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, it's a lot of situations where, no, it didn't end in, you know, somebody dying or getting shot. But there are situations where it was a traffic stop, or it was a, you know what I'm saying, you laying in your bed at home type stuff and you got shot. So although it's not a tick for tack thing, but I am saying that, you know, we've had a lot of unfortunate situations that weren't warranted. And, you know, that was just one situation, you know what I'm saying, on the white side of the spectrum that might have not been warranted, but it happened, you know what I'm saying?
Joe?
So I'm not saying that she deserved that, but just saying that. Just to go back on that. Not saying that she deserved it, but I am saying that is a result of feeling like you're invincible.
Yeah,
nothing is going to happen to us because, like, you know what I'm saying, we're like, it's us.
Right,
you know
the protected group. Yeah.
So
I think I found the whole situation crazy because, I mean, clearly it's a crazy situation led off by Donald Trump. And it was completely wrong, and I mean, and it just didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me at all coming from him. And
by let off, do you mean that his words incited, or like actually planned by him? Be specific with words.
Both.
I like us to be concise with words.
You know, that's his homie.
Both.
No, don't say. So you saying that you think Trump was like, yeah, y'all going in 9 o'clock, ready, go. Like that's how you think it is.
Damn near, yeah. He let it off.
I was literally trying to figure that out. I seen the tweet that he posted back in
It's
December.
just like,
See y'all January 6th.
Right.
it's like we live in these times, and it's like, it's crazy because, you know, it's like you can live in such crazy times and be so far away from it at the same time. Like, because I know, like, years from now when this is talked about, like, I seen on Twitter, it was like a 2020 like little documentary video, like just a little like, just played like little clips of all that happened, all the bad shit that happened in 2020, and I was like, what the, like, I'm living in this, and it don't even feel like I'm really going through all this. It's just all this craziness, and it's just like, it's crazy to me because, like, you know, I'm on Twitter, and it's just, you know, you can make fun of it, to just kind of get through it, but overall, it's just a crazy situation going on, and it's like, you know, every day I'm not believing what's going on.
I've got a deeper question kind of stemming from that. Do you feel as though throughout history, through major historical events, the people always kind of felt like this is just life, like they weren't really aware of the
that's what I'm saying.
magnitude?
That's I'm glad you said it. It makes you think, like, it really makes you think, because now I'm just going back to like the worst, like slavery. I wonder if people like back then was kind of like slaves was finding a way to make fun of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they made fun of their situation. Like, they didn't even know, like, that this was just the worst. You know what I'm saying?
And I also keep in mind, or I always wonder, I'm amazed by the fact that because of social media and phones and internet, I can kind of have an awareness of other people, at least an idea. Imagine if it was like you truly could not even visualize outside of your geographic, like, you know what I'm saying, if you ain't seen pine trees and, like, you know what I'm saying, like rivers, you just literally could not imagine. Or if you've never seen a bear, you just, like, the first time you see it, you like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is? So it's like that to me is kind of, it just kind of influences the way we take in things. Like, it's the first time I think we're able to think of the historical significance in the moment. Like, wow, this is big in comparison to other things. Like, other cultures, I feel like they didn't have the ability to really cross compare it with other times.
I really feel like it's just a big memory bank now. So, like, I feel like back in the day, once the newspaper got thrown away, it was kind of like they kept it moving. You know what I'm saying? We got a whole compilation of everything that done went down, and it's starting to really feel like a show. Like, the world is almost looking like a show, and Donald Trump was like a hired on character to, like, stir the pot of the world right now. 'Cause that's how it feels. It's like, you couldn't even write this in a movie, but it's what's going down. And
in real life.
And I also feel like how you were just saying how we kind of are joking about it. I feel like it's kind of like the light and the darkness that we're gonna have black humor even in the worst times in America. Like, although we're taking it serious and we're acknowledging the wrongs and everything, it's still some jokes with it, and it's like it kind of makes you, I don't know, I guess hopeful that it ain't going, like, even when we going down, like the world's about to end, we're gonna be like, y'all, LOL, this shit about to go down. Like,
right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
It's something to be like, you always got something to catch you to have high hopes.
That's why I appreciate comedy so much, because of that. It's just it keeps you up through the hardest times. Like, you can be going through the hardest time, but you know, laughter is just a way to keep your hope going. You know what I'm saying?
That's facts.
Some people don't like when people are laughing and stuff like that, or talking about casual topics. But I'll come to the understanding that I feel as though there's a small group of people that are able to really affect change, and it's their role to get things going. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's some people have an unfair responsibility because of whether their intelligence or they got the money to really make things go. It's on them to kind of. Not everybody even has the resources to really even affect change. They don't have the leadership capability. There's nothing they could do really. So it's like they have to stay positive. They gotta, you know what I'm saying, continue playing sports, talking about small things. It's part of their mental health as well. You know what I'm saying? They should be able to speak on bigger issues, but it shouldn't be like such a forced issue. But my tidbit on it is that I have a conflict of feelings, because in the specific moment, I want when you're invading the Capitol, I'm on the same shit. Like, yo, they should be gunned down. Like, there has to be a level of protectiveness over anything that is, you know what I'm saying, that's our like that keeps order if we're not defending it properly. My only thing that I only get fearful of, or I'm like I'm not with all that, is when it crosses the line to me to truly people are calling to arms, almost like, hey man, it's time for us to just ride, bruh. And I'm like, if you say it, you have to be truly meaning that. It's like, it's very powerful words, and then I see people, they were getting ready to clock in to work tomorrow. You can't be ready to like, it's either you about to go revolutionary or you about to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no such thing as I'm planning trips. We gonna like regular Instagram pictures. We doing regular people stuff. But I'm like, real talk, like, talking ain't working, man. Like, they planting seeds of revolutionary. Like, I'm like,
but y'all not ready to revolt.
Yeah. I'm like, y'all not really, like, y'all. I don't think y'all get, like, y'all think like it's like people gonna be like, you know what, y'all put up a good fight, we're gonna give y'all rights. Like, no, like they gonna kill us. Like, if we really go for that, you gotta be prepared. Like, life will never be the same. Like, kiss your wife and your kids. Like goodbye. Like, we going to fight for this tonight. Like,
make sure you wheel straight.
Yeah, like it's not like a casual, just like, and I say that, I'm like, understand the difference between discomfort and wanting things to improve and being fundamentally feeling like everything should change. You know what I'm saying? Like, the structure of everything. There's nothing that you think is positive. There's no type of areas you like, oh, we should keep that or maintain that. You just want everything out. I'm like, I'm critical of it. I can't get on that. And I feel as though there's some African Americans who they almost try to shame you into, like, if you ain't on go to get violent, you ain't about this. And I'm like, I'm like, if that's the case, show me. Cause I'm like, I feel like I see you at school. Like, I'm gonna see you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I run to you at Kroger. Like, I don't. What is the thing that you do that separates it? That shows it? Cause you have to do something that lets people know, like, I'm the leader. Like, ride behind me. What is the call to action? You just tweeting, and I'm like, seems dangerous. You influencing people who are in an emotional moment, who not really thinking of everything. Like, what if someone actually is ready to ride about it?
I was just thinking, I'm like, bro, what if, like, somebody hype this shit all the way up, and then I jump my ass out there and get there and be like, oh shit. And
you know what I'm saying? I think that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? When you talking like that, you gotta be prepared to really do it and understand that there's consequences for a large amount of people. Like, it could go, you know, like how you think it, like, it might go positive and everything goes, but I doubt it. Like, it's a very, it takes a lot of energy. It's a lot into it. So I'm just saying, be mindful of the things we say, and just, like, even when people say, like, oh, if we start a war, like, who would you target? Like, what specific, are you just killing everybody who's not black, or are you going for, like,
you country
boy?
You
going, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you
racist, or are you going for actually, you know what I'm saying, and like prejudice or whatever?
Are you skipping your friends? Are you like, you know what I'm saying? The other, like, people who not
non-black friends.
It's just like, it's a complicated issue, and like, and people, it's interracial relationships. It's so many things, so many layers, and like for people to just say, like, y'all still talking, y'all trying to be civil, tired of that shit. I'm like, okay. let's do something. Like, go show us what you about to do. Show us your game plan.
That's a tough topic for me because it's kind of like, like I always think about, like, I'm not one of the people who believe that all whites are racist.
I don't either.
By default, if you're white, you're, like, I don't believe that. So it's kind of tough because it's like, I couldn't even jump into if it was a racial war or whatever, like I couldn't even just jump in off just the basic fact that okay, we're going to work, cool, because it's kind of like, I know some whites that I genuinely believe would give their last, you know what I'm saying, regardless of color. And then also I know some blacks who hate fucking, Caucasian people, you know what I'm saying, but and I'm not faulting them for that, but I'm just saying though, like on both sides of the spectrum, I kind of see, you know what I'm saying, like I form my opinion around my experiences and not more necessarily what I hear or what I see, you know what I'm saying, elsewhere. So,
and I just encourage all African Americans to stay in that, because I even explained, I went through a period where I got, my ideas were a little more extreme than they are now, but just through experiences, you have to factor in the way you feel in the presence of these people. If you can't stand on your words in game time, with the people around, I feel as though you don't feel it strong enough. You know what I'm saying? I feel murdering is wrong in front of murderers. If we was around murderers, I wouldn't be I kind of, murder is still wrong. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't cower against that. To some people, I always target my message towards suburban African Americans coming from similar areas that I came from, where it's not necessarily danger around your streets. You really have some positive relationships with white folks, Spanish folks. And you got friends that you gonna party with. You still interact with them. When it's game time and you see them, is your first feeling oh, what's up, man? Or is it really you militant, you a little defensive? If it's not that, then don't act like you have, you know what I'm saying? To me, that's fake. You got homies right now, you still texting, but you on the timeline hee ha ha and getting disrespectful against their whole race. I'm why are we supposed to respect? I don't consider, I have friends of the other race. I'm I'm not going to say anything that I wouldn't support or say to their face.
I think people think they can go hunting for the Trump signs and that'll do it. But it's I don't know. I'll be delivering and I ran into some nice Trump supporters. I can't say that all of them.
I do Uber Eats and they tip excellent. Trump supporters said they tip excellent.
I didn't see both though. I didn't see some that's damn near slave on the Trump.
But
it looks a little scary sometimes.
There's both sides to it. So
it's this statement that makes, I believe, not every Trump supporter is a racist, but every racist is a Trump supporter.
Fair enough.
So it's it's a lot of them over there, but even that is still not the fully whole story of a line of of a person to be I'm against you.
But the last thing I just want to say on this issue, I'm just saying, as black people, be mindful of, while we're so hyper aware of racism that's going on in the other side, don't let a black supremacist or racist idea manifest itself on our side. As we're trying to pay attention to what they're doing and what's not right, we starting to get a little, our comments, our commentary, the way we come in is out of pocket to me. It's just raw jabs at their style, the way they look, their beauty. You know what I'm saying? You're white is almost like an insult. I'm I can't co-sign all that. That's getting out of my field of comfort. But another issue we want to touch on, because you know what I'm saying, we're going to touch on it in both episodes, because I'm sure our other guest has much to say.
Jogging over here, he's ready.
Yeah, he's human. He's human. But we want to get your definition of toxic masculinity, and not only what it is, but in ways that you feel that it may sometimes be misused in today's society. Sometimes people are using it and you don't think that's actually toxic. If you have any examples of that.
Alright. So when I think of toxic masculinity, I'm gonna tell you the first thing I think about. The first thing I think about is in society we've focused so much on, you know what I'm saying, nah, you a man, do this, to the point where now we taking normal stuff and making it not okay because you're a man. For example, the glizzy conversation. When niggas talk about glizzies, it's a joke. It's a joke, but it kind of
for those who are not up on lingo, go ahead and inform them on that glizzy situation.
So at one point in time, I don't know who started it or what dumbass started this shit. But at one point in time, eating a hot dog became a glizzy.
Yeah.
So then now on Twitter, we seeing, you know what I'm saying, if you eating a hot dog, you a glizzy gladiator, you a, ain't you a glizzy gobbler or something like that? Glizzy gobbler. So yeah, it's like, I don't know who started it, but you know, it's a joke and I laugh at it, you know what I'm saying? But it does give you an example of how we act in society to the point where like now, eating a hot dog has become a thing. You know what I'm saying? If a man is eating a hot dog, it's like, goddamn. Like, as a man, and this is why I feel like it's the toxic part is because it's not supposed to be a negative or a bad thing, but because you're a man, we make it a bad thing.
Right.
That's why I consider it toxic. You know what I'm saying? Masculinity. So, like, for example, if I get a popsicle or one of them rainbow popsicles or something, I gotta eat it a certain way. I gotta eat the popsicle. You gotta put the teeth on a certain way to not look crazy. So you know what I'm saying?
Just like,
stuff like that.
Just like a sucker, like a lollipop. You just be like, you gotta put it beside the mouth.
Like no funny shit. No funny shit. When I'm by myself, I'm gonna eat a fucking sucker. How I want to eat a sucker? Like I'm not thinking about like. You know
okay, but these those are kind of like topical versions of toxic masculinity. What about the things I guess are they're not necessarily a behavior, but well, they could be a behavior, but more of an idea of how someone should act or carry themselves. Not so much as like, you know what I'm saying, oh, that's sweet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
give me one of your examples.
So I guess an example would be I came under Twitter fire for saying that boys should not be raised on the message that they can cry everywhere. Like, they should only cry in private, or if it's for like extreme pain or death. And I feel as though there's reasons for that. I'll explain my reason, but I'll let you kind of touch on that. Like, what's your thoughts on like
that idea is toxic. But I will say this though. I'm not one of the ones who push that agenda, but I kind of have like subconsciously fell in line with that agenda. So it's like I don't agree with it. I don't think that, like, you know what I'm saying, as a boy or as a man, like, you know what I'm saying, when we growing up or whatever, like, we're not encouraged to show emotion or express ourselves. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not against it. I do think that, you know what I'm saying, as a boy you should be express yourself. I do feel like you should be able to, you know what I'm saying, show some type of emotion. But at the same time, and the reason why I say I kind of fall in line with it is because as a man, and it may be toxic, maybe, but as a man, I do feel like, you know, you got to get to a point where you put your foot down and you say, you know what I'm saying, like, oh well, so what, so be it. You know what I'm saying, I'm move forward. So on one side, you should be allowed to show emotion. You shouldn't be just, you know what I'm saying, like, you a man, don't cry this, you know what I'm saying, because it's necessary sometimes. It is necessary. But on the other side, I do feel like, you know, suck it up and, you know what I'm saying, push forward type stuff. Because I feel like at some point that part has to kick in for you to progress in any way. And
this is what, now hold on. I'll let you.
You really middle-minded though. You went 50-50. What side you lean?
He did middle-line. And that's what I tell people is what makes it so an easy choice to me on what you should tell little boys. What you just said was a complex message that you can deliver to me when they like 16.
Yeah.
But when a boy is 8 years old, and you're just trying to plant the seed of how he has to structure his behavior, you can't explain, hey, sometimes cry when it really means something and you're feeling it and it's passionate, but don't do it here, but kind of do it here. And you can kind of express it with your girl in certain situations, but not here. You can't. A little boy is just going to be like, all you should say is,
how you gonna coach?
All you say is to a little boy is like, hey, big boys don't cry. Later on, because he's not feeling romantic feelings. The reason he wants to cry typically are reasons we are not allowing that anymore. Once he get a little older, once he gets into his game, we can explain, hey, listen, it's okay to cry. You know what I'm saying? We're going to feel emotion too. Just wait. Don't do it in the bus. Don't do it in the locker room. They're going to have consequences that are negative, regardless of if it feels right to do so. And I just believe that's what you have to train people.
Damn, I got that taser.
Right. So you know what I'm saying. So that's just how I feel. Like, you know what I'm saying. But,
and when you said I was in the middle, I'm gonna say this. although it may be wrong, I'm not saying that my opinion on it is right. I will say early on, I'm probably on the side that may be wrong. Suck it up, deal with it. This and the third, and then at a certain point, you know what I'm saying, I express to my son or my, you know what I'm saying, whoever. It's okay. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can cry. You know what I'm saying? This and third. Yeah. When you're at a point where you can understand the differences or the complexity of it, but early on, I might be wrong in doing this, but I'm more so on the side of.
Do you have an age where the messages is gonna change? Like, you kind of have like a range idea.
Not an age, but I identify the maturity of my child. Right. I'm saying, okay, yeah, now he's at a point where you can understand. Yeah, because that could be at 12, that could be at 14, that could be got down 25 because my child an idiot and they ain't got to that point. I don't know, but. Yeah, I'm more so maturity than not just age, for sure.
It would depend on the experience or the action for me when I'm like, okay, this is a time where you can cry. Like it would have to be like something they just have to learn throughout, experiences in their life, not necessarily a certain age or like, I feel like they smart enough at this point. Like it'd just be like off of just specific, experience that they go through. Is when I would be like, okay, now this is an appropriate time to cry. I'm gonna sit them down, talk to them, and tell them, how to express their emotions and stuff like that.
I think what hasn't been talked about that I've been thinking is the style of cry. Like, if this is like a couple teardrops, I'm like, you good, boy. But he's like, all right, so you're embarrassing me now.
Because you can't be embarrassing me. And that's the biggest thing. It's not even really about you. It's more so. That's why he said, you wait till you get to your room. That's really something important. Because how much crying do we do behind closed doors?
We cry.
It's okay.
Men cry all the time.
Just don't be embarrass my father. It's
a social law. You're not trying to just be out and about like people are not understanding like, and that's all I ask them. Don't say what sounds good on paper. Say what is true. Like, for example, women would come against me and typically say like, okay, well, you're teaching your man not to express your emotions. I'm saying, in order for you to prove to me that I should edit my view on it, I would have to observe. What you're saying you like in the men that you date. So if I don't see you dating men that I see crying or are very highly sensitive or then I would encourage you to raise your son. I would encourage you to raise your son to be successful in dating, because that contributes to mental health and all that. You're not going to raise your son to be a man that you would be like, I'm straight on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would be the benefits of it? You get what I'm saying? Like, this isn't going to work. Like, hey,
typically a woman wants a tough guy.
Right.
A tough guy is not a crier.
And as they get older, you can explain to people, hey, look, you still have to be able to express yourself intimately with your partner. Yeah. But you have to sometimes be strong just for her. Like, sometimes you have to withdraw your emotion just to be cool, calm, and collect when she has to go through her storm. So it's like you're training yourself to be a partner in learning to control your emotions, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just a different task list or a different mission than it is for women. And I don't think it's necessarily negative to teach boys at an early age, like, hey, you got to control that. Like, you got to get it together so that you can tackle life's ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel about it.
And just to touch on your point, you know what I'm saying? Like men are naturally supposed to be, in society, they're supposed to be providers, protectors.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Say, for instance, I got my wife, and here I am, and somebody come up to rob us or whatever. Sometimes it's toxic to hold back emotion, but I don't got time to panic with her while she panicking, because I'm supposed to be protecting. I'm supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? So like it is, yes, as men, we should be allowed to express emotions and stuff like that, but we also have to have the ability to remove it sometimes.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't panic right now. I can't stress right now. You know what I'm saying? If me and my wife, you know what I'm saying, we live in this and third, and we messed up, we tight, money tight, this and third, shit going bad, whatever, this and third, like, I can't stress or panic, because it got to get fixed regardless. That's why sometimes, like, I take the viewpoint of, like, suck it up. You know what I'm saying? Because it has to, no matter what problem you get in life, it gotta get fixed regardless, unless you choose to stay stuck and stay, focused in on that problem. Like, it got to get fixed regardless. So somebody has to be the one to say, you know what, I'm mad about it, I'm upset about it, you know what I'm saying, I'm sad about it, whatever case may be, but I'll deal with it later. I'll think about that later. I got to move forward.
Right.
And my thing is, I feel like it's like the pendulum swinging, because for so long the storyline has been that boys have been growing to not be able to express it, and so it's like trying to swing the opposite way, and it might be going a little further because there still is the component of mental toughness.
Right.
And that's even outside of masculinity. Like, we need to still be teaching kids mental toughness, because even going through social media, you're going to have to hear stuff that you don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to deal with some stuff. And to order to keep succeeding through all of that, there has to be some mental toughness. And for boys, it has to be another layer of it, because although girls can be, like, little girls can be a little bit more spoiled and bratty, and it can be cute, but it's only a certain allowance of that for a boy. Even,
right.
not to say that he can't express himself, but you can't just be crying about everything that the girls are crying about. They got, berets and all that.
Right. And we'll just take a...
I'm just saying, you can't get crying.
That is funny, too. We're going to take a sharp left turn into coming from the toxic masculinities issue. We want to speak on the current men are trash trend that I felt like it's been thick the last 3 or 4 years. I feel like I can't breathe. It's been like a fog. It's like being a fog in there. Every time I'm going, like, men are trash. I'm like, oh man, it's getting sticky. Anyway, so do you feel like the men are trash trend is helpful or hurtful to relationships between men and women?
Before I start, I'm going to say this.
Get close to the mic.
Before I start, I'm going to say this. I am not a woman hater. I am not a misogynist.
Okay.
But, I say all that to say, because now I got to come at women because of the men are trash trend. The men are trash trend, it annoys me and it kills me, because I can sit and observe all kinds of men who handling their business, faithful to their woman, you know what I'm saying, providing this, then the third. But the only thing I hear people focus on is niggas trash. And it's like, God damn, like, you know what I'm saying? I want to see more like, nah, like, my dude straight. You know what I'm saying? He handle his business, he take care of business. Like, nah, I got a good one, just in third. But more so, we just hear men are trash. And not saying that dudes don't do it, but when we talk about a trend, like, more so right now, we're just hearing the men is trash so much, and it gets to the point like, damn, like, ain't nobody out there, you know what I'm saying, got a good dude that they proud of. Don't nobody, you know what I'm saying.
And devil's advocate, they would say, yeah, there are some good men, but those men should not be offended or respond or feel hit by the comments that we give towards the trash men, because we're speaking to them. But
my rebuttal to that is this, you know what I'm saying? Say I'm in a room full of educated black people. Mm-hmm. I'm in a room and I'm surrounded by 20, 30 educated black people, but all I walk around saying is, God damn, niggas ain't got no sense. Niggas dumb. Niggas, you know what I'm saying? I'm around 30 educated black.
I agree.
So it's not no ignorant blacks around me, but all you hear me saying is about niggas is dumb, niggas is ignorant, niggas this, niggas that. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, yeah, you might not be talking about all people, all niggas, but at the end of the day, look who's surrounding you, and that's all you're saying. So my point is this. It's like, yeah, I get it. You saying that if you're not one of the trash men, or you're not one of the ones we're referring to, you shouldn't be offended. But it's like, I don't want to hear this repeatedly, because to me now it seems like, you know what I'm saying, you don't acknowledge positive men. You don't acknowledge, you know what I'm saying, men who handle their business there. You're only stressing and only talking about niggas who, you know what I'm saying, doing foul stuff or doing, you know what I'm saying, bullshit. So it's like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but I could talk all day on that. Men is trash.
And Joe, specifically this question, do you feel like this trend is helpful or hurtful to relationships between men and women?
I think it's hurtful, because you know, like you said, even if it doesn't specifically apply to you, you know, it seeps out. You know, it's something you don't want to continuously hear. Like, men need their flowers too. You know what I'm saying? We need our praise too. The good men need their praise too. So I think it's hurtful to the relationship.
I mean, my problem with the statements is that they're saying this in a time that they're dodging everything that's coming back for them. Like, we obviously are knowing that men and women are trash.
Right.
But when we are speaking on the things that make women trash, they like ducking it. You're like, whoa.
Evasion.
I ain't got
Evasion on the
I can be on now.
And that's what I wanted to hear. I'm glad you touched on that. Men are not. I am 100% never going to co-sign a statement that men are 100% perfect, or that there's no absence of evil men, violent men, insensitive men, etc., etc. These men exist. I'm just saying you can never have a reasonable conversation until we get beyond the point where any criticism of women is like, oh, you done did it now, nigga. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the? You could say men are broke. You could say men's egos are fragile. Men can't take rejection. Men want to be leaders and they're not competent leaders, etc., etc. What could I say about women that you guys would be like, fair? That's reasonable.
Nothing.
There is nothing that could be. Nothing. You couldn't not say, hey, you guys are mean. They'd be like, oh, mean. So you just can't take our comments, huh? You're insensitive. You're a sensitive piece of shit, huh? You're fragile. So
you hate women, just say that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So you say, occasionally you guys are a little rude. We're rude. Okay, let us know when you want a strong woman. Like, I'm like, it's not that. It's just like
that. Just say that. That black woman phrase is so funny. If you hate me, just say that. Whoever came up with that, bro.
If you hate us, just say it. Because it puts so much like weight on any comment. You know what I'm saying? And I think it just because it also becomes I think weary of me when every time there's any issue of wanting support or protection or something like that, the first thing is brought up is like, see, this is why y'all ain't shit. And I'm like, in what situation historically have you ever badmouthed or talked down against the person that you expect to be your protector?
And that shit.
I would never, if I'm a celebrity, I wouldn't be talking to my security guards like, man, y'all some bitches.
Y'all just make me proud.
Y'all better make sure that we straight when we walk through the crowd though, but y'all ain't nothing. I'm like, you gotta pay the security. You gotta make sure the security straight. Like, hey, I hope y'all good. Yo, thank you for everything you do, bro. You gonna be like, hey man, I hate y'all, and then expect them to lay they lies on the line. I'm like, that to me is just a lofty, unreasonable expectation. I'm like, why would you? If you're trying to repair or trying to create better relations, it has to come from the, hey, look, this is things that we have to work on, and these are things that y'all have to work on. Like, once you take accountability for your people, are more accountable for theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I admit that we have to work on what's called definitely decreasing homophobia in the black man community. I think we have to work on being more present as fathers, even though we are doing better with, like, there's actually statistics for that. I think we have to do more of just focusing on trying to be more in the academic sense. Like, once the whole group is like, hey, we all focus on trying to learn more, you become a better people. But I'm not going to say, hey, I think it's just literally we the weakest link. Like, I'm not co-signing or retweeting like, yeah, y'all right. Like, there's been men that told me like, we low-key is the weakest link, bro. I'm like, no, bro. I'm not. I don't agree with that sentiment that, yeah, we is the weakest link. I kind of get you on that. Like, why would you? Because when have you ever heard them say like, yeah, to be honest with you, we messing up. I get that once every 4 months, and it's like 1,000 retweets. Everybody on their head like, you want a cookie? Like, pick me. I'm like, she got some points. I'm just saying, like,
bro. I'm glad you said this, bro. I literally like it. The shit drive me crazy because you know what I'm saying. Like, yeah, there are some men that are trash. There are some women that are trash. There are some dogs that are fucking evil. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can talk about some all the time. But at the end of the day, bro, like, when you are one of them men who you handle your business, you faithful, you know what I'm saying, you doing all these different things, bro. When you one of them people that's doing it, you hate to hear just constantly. That's all you hear. That's all you hear. And like, I don't know which one of y'all said something about flowers, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? No, I don't want a cookie, but goddamn, like, I also don't want you to, you know what I'm saying, negative all day. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, when you doing something, you might not be doing it for to impress. You might not be doing it to get a cookie. Might not be doing it for a prize. But at the end of the day, naturally as humans, you know what I'm saying, we move off motivation. So, so it takes something to motivate you to keep going. So just the simple fact that I know that you're thankful for what I'm doing makes me want to go hard and do it.
With your respect in the community.
You know what I'm saying?
And your family, like you just want to
be. If I ain't got no car and I gotta walk 15 miles up the street every day to go to the store to get you what you want, god damn, I don't like walking 15 miles up the street. But if I know that she loves it, she appreciates this, I'm cool doing it. If I feel like me doing this shit don't make a difference in your life at all because you don't give a damn, I'm not voluntarily walking that 15 miles type shit. So it's like, no, I don't want a cookie, but at the end of the day, like, I want you to at least acknowledge that you appreciate, you know what I'm saying, positive shit that's being done versus, the negative that we hear all day. And then I will clarify on this too and say this: Twitter isn't society. So for like Twitter is 90% negative type shit. So I also don't just believe that what I see on Twitter is what society believes, because Twitter is mostly geared for jokes and negative opinions.
Joe said no, I disagree.
What's your take on it?
Twitter, I feel like Twitter is like starting, if not already becoming what society, like the general opinion of society. You know what I mean? Like, in a sense, but I see what you're saying. It's like, because it's a lot of fake with Twitter, so it's hard to know like what's just Twitter and what's actually real. But it's kind of like, it's hard to decipher what is like, what are we considering real off of Twitter and what's just real outside of Twitter, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think Twitter is very similar to a high school population dynamic, and I think some people don't get that this high school dynamic occurs for the rest of your time period in life. Like, even when we think of high school, oftentimes people's memories are geared towards like the top 75, top 80 kids, like popularity wise, and their little rumors, their little fights and dramas were kind of the subject matter. Their parties, their affairs, it was the subject matter that kind of stimulated your high school experience. There is a whole bunch of other high school kids that there, but it may not be as vivid in your memory. I think the same is done when we think of men are trash. Like, it's not just a large amount of men, they don't even date. They're not really popping guys. They're not violent. They're not domineering. They don't even have enough character to really be a negative force in women's life. They're literally like a fly, and they're like, whatever, like, bye. But there's a small population of men that has all their attention, all their adoration. And these so happen to be bad dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, a large amount of these dudes, because they have so many options. They've been told, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just acting crazy. And of course, this small population is going to be why. And I feel like they get a lot of attention, and they're wearing the back of toxic and tragic and cheater and bad and violent. And there's a lot of dudes that like just playing video games, just DMing and trying to get a date. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same with girls. Like, for me to say every girl is just scandalous and wild in the club all the time, not true at all. That's a small amount of girls who are just very popular. A lot of men know them. But most girls, go here and there. They're working 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I never thought of that. That's a really true statement, though.
I'm gonna say this, and this is like, I've been beating up women a little bit, but I will say this though, bro. Like we hear, dudes, we talk about like women, because on the reverse side, you know what I'm saying, women get bashed a little bit this and third, bro. It's a lot of women. I'm just only talking about what I observed, not even what I experienced. It's a lot of women out here that, because we talk about gold diggers and this and third, they don't want money, this and third. Bro, it's a lot of women out here who would get a last day paycheck to a dude if they really rocking with them. It's a lot of women out here who will take care of a nigga completely. It's a lot of niggas. Like, one thing I will say, like, when the gold digger conversation come up, like, although I do have a strong opinion on it, and I do feel like some women just all hand out, bro. I feel like it's a lot of dudes who be talking about gold diggers and stuff that don't got no money. Like, they can't, like, you have nothing that they can take from you. Type of, so, like, they're like, you're not in this argument. So, in defense of women on one topic, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of women who do a lot of stuff that, that isn't appreciated, or isn't like but we talk about the popular. We talk about what we see, you know what I'm saying, the most. So, even though something can be the average or the norm, we're talking about, you know what I'm saying, Sweetie because she went viral. We talking about Quavo
Right,
because he went viral. This because he went viral. We're not talking about like what actually goes on the most like on the norm.
And I also want women to be transparent about this, because this is something that men know. It's something that I think a lot of people understand, but they don't really speak on. Is that on the pathway to her husband in modern day society, a lot of girls feel as though I want a couple of experiences with some wild dudes before I tap in with the right dude. And they're not necessarily busting their butt to avoid red flags and, I think he might be a wild guy. Like, they want a wild dude. They want some exciting experiences to just kind of put in the book, like, that was crazy, girl. Like, they have it for the wine nights. They can talk about it. And then they go on and move to a more responsible. So these experiences, I don't consider them the same when it's like you willingly come to the fire. This guy's not even trying to be a nice, polite, saying, I'll take you to flowers. And like, he's coming off the gate wild and that's his reputation. But you attracted to it, which is cool. Like, it's cool to date and do something. Like, dudes have the same stuff. Like, I just want to date a woman of this race or this look or who dresses like this just for the hell of it. That may not be what I think I'm going to settle down with or who I want to invest my time with. But I just want that in my experiences. And I think a lot of women are attracted to wild, dangerous men. And they just want to see what it's on. And I'm like, that to me is not the same as just a man that just, like a father who's just of poor nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, a father is supposed to be in your life. These guys that you're dating, where do we cross the line before I consented to wanting to be with a wild guy and a man who was acting perfect actually truly hurt me? There's two different things, and I know they're not the same situation. The same with guys. Like, we know some girls, like, she appeared pretty wild. She actually acted exactly how she appeared.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I knew I ain't had no business doing it.
She was not replying
anyway.
Like, I can't say that she really fooled me. Like, she did exactly what I thought she might do, and I signed up. I don't put that in the woman or trash. Now, a couple of girls is like,
trash women or trash.
Right. There's a couple of girls I'm like, I really thought you were a good woman. I did not know that you would, go smash on my friends or something crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like that. But there's some girls that's like, yeah, I get it. It was in your bio. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm a player. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I still DM. Like, I was like, count on me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to talk about it.
I feel like, to add to all of your points that y'all were just making, I feel like Twitter negativity is kind of put to the forefront more than like good, happy relationship. I'm not even going to say Twitter, because we know that a negative comment will just get more attention from people regardless of where it's at.
More entertaining.
Yeah. And so I feel like single women are really loud on Twitter. And so the other women who actually, even the women who will give their last, they going in with the single bashing women was saying, like, yeah, I guess me and our trash. But normally they would be giving their last check to a nigga, and they probably doing it currently, but they just won't be putting that
part of the movement.
Bro, yeah.
The popular movement at the time. So it's like, you're right, though. It's definitely more negative on social media than positive.
But
like
even
shade room and all that.
Yeah, but it's like women will call other women stupid for giving their last to their man or supporting in a different way than the typical standard of how we are set up. And then it's not being spoken about that, like, yeah, I'll do it.
Right.
I would do that.
I'm so glad you just said it. I literally was just having this conversation with my girlfriend. I was telling her, like, bro, like, a lot of women on, and this is not me bashing women, but a lot of women on social media, like, when they post, like, oh, my next man gotta have this, my next man gotta make this, my next man gotta be doing that. But you constantly dealing with dudes who don't do that. So it's like on social media, you got certain standards and a certain this and third, but you're not living that type stuff. Like you bashing bum niggas on Twitter, but you date a bum nigga. you messing with a bum nigga. You talking about, you know what I'm saying? If he can't pay for me and my friends at dinner type stuff, I ain't fucking with him. But you fucking with nigga that get to the restaurant and say he forgot his wallet type shit. So
you're on a different level, like, yeah.
There's so many, like, I see so much of that on social media where it's like y'all got these super high standards, but then in real life you're tolerating bullshit. Right. So I'm not knocking the high standards, but I am knocking the facade of you know what I'm saying, these are your standards, but in real life you tolerate bullshit.
And look, and I know we're gonna bring it to an end soon, but I just want to leave it with this. I want people to be aware that people know when you're capping based off of the physical attributes you have, the personality you have. Not everybody can play by the same playbook. So, for example, there's some dudes, man, buddy just 6'4", got the right haircut, right look, you know what I'm saying? Like, his game plan is rather skimp. He just walks in, he tells girls where he at, and it's going to be pretty effective at a very high rate. That's his game plan. If he tells men how to get girls, he could not give a good game plan because most men don't have the tools he got. So there's girls that inspire mass support through women, and like, you gonna tell him do this, spend this amount of money, if he don't do it, bounce, blah blah blah. The truth is, she might be able to do that. She might have a look, she might have a style, she might have the personality, she might have a flirt game. You don't know what she does behind the scenes. You don't know how much she texts in the morning, hey, good morning, or you know what I'm saying, how her egg and sausage game. You thinking all she doing is just give me the money and I'm out. She might cook and clean with a dude who give her some money. You don't know what her game plan is to get it. But she just telling you, like, ask for that money if you ain't getting it, blah, blah, blah. So girls is coming and stepping like that. I'm like, but for you, you're not as attractive of her. It's like, hey, you're not as funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, your shoe game is not. You don't get to these clubs and sections around this quality of men. So as a guy on the outside, I already know you're lying. I'm going to DM you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to see. We're going to test this theory out. There's certain women who do that, and men know, like, based off the dudes I know, I think you really do mess with these dudes. And I think they really do take you serious. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to step to you like that. And there's other girls, you know, like, okay, Chandra, whatever you say. I'll see you at Denny's if not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not really pressing. I know you're not living like that. So you don't have to live in the means that people already know you can't live up to. You know what I'm saying? Adjust your game plan for how you date and your standard based on your attributes, what you bring to the table. And I feel like you're always going to have a better chance to find an equally yoked partner if you go in it that way. But don't flex. Don't be inspired by Instagram trends and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna bring this to the end, man. It's been a pleasure with my guest, Armani. You know what I'm saying? Big round of applause for my man right there. Make sure y'all follow us on Perspective Junkies Podcast on Instagram, P Junkies Podcast on Twitter, and you can listen to us on Apple or Spotify or several other platforms. It's on the link in the bio. Y'all tune in, subscribe, and comment. We are out.